Hi, this is Andrew Morrison. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Mentoring in Medicine, and welcome to Pathways to Health Professions. This is going to be a regular occurring series where we will bring you various educators, various healthcare professionals to share with you proven strategies to help you reach your goal. I am so excited to be able to have Mr. McBib Gameda. He's at Eastern Virginia Medical School, and he'll be able to share with you an overview of his school, but more importantly, given his vast experience, he'll be able to help you better prepare yourself and also tell your story as well. Before I turn it over to Mr. Gameda, I want to first tell you more about Mentoring in Medicine. We're actually a pathway program that I say goes from pre-K all the way over to PhD. That's right, from pre-K all the way over to PhD. And what we want to do is we want to support you in every single step of the journey. Wherever you are in your journey, we're going to be able to support you. This summer, we'll be doing a virtual healthcare ambassador program from middle school students all the way to college and graduate students. You can join us online at medicalmentor.org, and you'll be able to see more information about what we're doing. Mr. Gameda is a very important ally, friend, and fellow warrior because we are in this battle together. And I think you should feel honored, you should feel privileged that you have someone like him who's here, who's accessible, and his sole mission is to ensure that you become successful. And so as a result, I want you to, have your ears wide open, but most importantly, have your heart open as well in terms of what these possibilities are. I had the great pleasure of meeting him, I'm going to say, on the battlefield. The best people who I meet are fellow soldiers who are engaging in the work. And he came to a Mentoring in Medicine Empower Me conference at Montefiore Hospital, really turned out the crowd. That was my first time hearing him speak, and I found a kindred spirit. And so I want you to realize that there's some wonderful connections for you. There are people out there who want to work with you, but they can't find you because you're not visible. And how do you become visible? You become visible by putting in the work. And this is why I want to continue to encourage you to join our virtual healthcare ambassador program this summer, because this will be a chance for you to put in the work. Now, before I begin with the official introductions, what I would like to do is play a game where I want to know your 5 favorite things, okay? And so I'm going to turn over to Mr. Gameda and say, what is your favorite movie? Folks in the chat room as well. Tell me, everyone in the chat room right now, type in your favorite movie. Let's go ahead and see what's your favorite movie. Mr. Gameda, what is your favorite movie?
Well, the latest one was Parasite. I shared that with you. That's a very interesting South Korean movie.
Okay.
And very exciting movie.
All right, great. And so far we have Good Will Hunting, we have Shrek, we have Black Panther, Princess and the Frog, we have Get Out, we have Matilda, we have Gattaca, Avengers Endgame, Cutting Edge, Mean Girls, Joker, Titanic, Black Panther, Titanic, and Kick-A. I'll just say it that way. And also we got Mean Girls, Bad Boys, and Pursuit of Happiness, and Little Mermaid, To Kill a Mockingbird. The next question for folks in our chat room, as well as for Mr. Gameda, is what is your favorite food? What's your favorite food, sir?
Oh, I wrote that out. It's like fried sardines are very, very good.
Fried sardines. How did you come up with fried sardines? Who forced you to eat fried sardines?
Oh, they are perfect.
Huh?
I actually make them myself, and
Wow.
or grilled, even better.
Okay, and I'm seeing the chat room: wings, burritos, tacos, Spanish sardines, chicken, oxtail, yaman,
Oh, yes.
fried plantains, Peruvian ceviche, French fries, chicken, curry chicken, dira halo, Haitian food, sushi, Guatemala, hamburgers, shrimp and broccoli, seafood, linguine, pizza, Brazilian hamburgers, pizza, tempura, sushi roll. all type of food, jollof, Haitian rice, sushi, anything seafood, anything West Indian, yaman, pizza. All right, so that's great. The next question is, what's your favorite vacation destination? Folks in the chat room, tell me, after you get accepted into your dream graduate school, after you know, walk across the big stage, what is your dream vacation spot? Mr. Gameda, what's your dream vacation spot?
I like to go to the, I like the Rift Valley and Highlands of East Africa.
Okay, wow, Rift Valley in East Africa.
Yeah.
So in our chat room, let's see what people are saying. People are saying uh Japan, Maldives, Cancun, Jamaica, the Philippines, Hawaii, Sri Lanka, Paris, Salzburg, Greece, Disney World, Bahamas, St. Louis, Scotland, Jamaica, Bora Bora, Bali, Malaysia, Dubai, Ghana, Paris, France, Ghana, Hawaii, Taipei, Cutty, okay, Italian, Italy, London, Cancun, Egypt, Switzerland, Bora Bora, Australia. Somebody said New York, okay? South Africa, Italy, Ghana, Barbados, the Bahamas. All right, India, Bora Bora, Egypt, okay, Madrid, Ivory Coast. All right, next question, Mr. Gameda, and folks in the chat room as well. Tell me, what is your favorite book? Mr. Gameda, what's your favorite book?
One of my favorites. I like a lot of books, but Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison.
Okay, Invisible Man, Ralph Ellison. And why is that your favorite book?
Because it is just a beautiful book. It's very well written. It kind of integrates a whole exploration of identity in this country,
Okay.
from a Black person's perspective, and integrates jazz into the exploration of that identity and that exploration. So it's very, very good book. One of the best books. One of the best, American books, I think.
Okay, and so we have the Bible, Catcher in the Rye, The Alchemist, Harry Potter, Last Princess, The Alchemist, the Bible, Twilight, Tuck Everlasting, Night Runner, Divergent, Vampire Diaries, The Killer Mockingbird, Jane Eyre, Switched, more Bibles, Angels and Demons, Divergent, Goosebumps series, One of Us is Lying, The Book Thief, we got Harry Potter, Sisterhood series, The Boy in Striped Pajamas, Incense and Life of a Slave Girl, more Alchemist, the Bible, War and Peace, All the Light We Cannot See, when breath becomes air, The Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, one of my Kindred by Octavia Butler, Autobiography of Malcolm X, Brave New World, Grapes of Wrath, Pride and Prejudice, Power Your Potential, Eyes Are Watching God, Roll of Thunder, Citizen, Little Women, Children of Blood and Bone, Forever, Kimitsu no Yaba, okay, American Boys, American Street, okay, that's a great list. And the final question, and I may want you to sing it toward the end, or I may sing it toward the end for you. We'll see. So how many people out there toward the end of the program, I think I may actually lip sync, or I may sing Mr. Gameda's favorite song. But Mr. Gameda, what is your favorite song? And folks in the chat room as well, tell me, what is your favorite song? So Mr. Gameda, what's your favorite song?
It's going to show my age,
What's your favorite song?
A change is gonna come.
A change? By who?
Otis Redding.
There you go. A change is going to come by Otis Redding. And so stay tuned toward the end, everybody. I may serenade us with my rendition of A Change is Going to Come. And that is so appropriate. Okay, so I'm going to decrease. So people have said Ocean by Hillsong, reggae, a lot of Broadway ABCs. Perfect. Go Get It by Mary Mary, Christ Redemptors, Bohemian Rhapsody, Via de la Rosa, Dream Girl, Sam Cooke, Lovely, Hello, Baby Shark. Okay, okay, I'll take that. Great is Your Mercy, Crane Your Neck, All the Stairs, Cold as Ice, any song from a boogie. Okay, Bomb and Gilead. Anything Drake? Okay, I ain't mad at nobody. Good one, Tomorrow. Anything Beyonce? Okay, Team Beyonce here. Just One Life. Listen, Don't Start Now. Remember, times are hard. Don't Stop Me, Watch Me, The Weekend, Waymaker, Careless Whispers, Spiteful, Oceans, Fake Smile, Tootsie, anything by the Beatles. We are the world and love. Okay, so I will now decrease. Mr. Gameda, take it away. Oh, you know what? Wow. Let me read your bio. I'm not doing you proper justice here. So let me quickly read your bio here. Prior to joining Eastern Virginia Medical School, Mr. Gameda served for 8 years as the Assistant Dean for Diversity Affairs and Community Health, and he was the founding director of the Center for Health of African Diaspora at New York University School of Medicine. He implemented successful programs at NYU to increase diversity among students, residents, faculty, and leadership. He established pipeline and community engagement initiatives. He also led efforts to integrate into the core medical curriculum cultural competency and a social determinant framework. Mr. Gameda has more than a decade of experience in both national and local efforts to reduce health disparities and increase diversity in the biomedical workforce. He was involved in developing a robust NIH, which stands for the National Institutes of Health, supported biomedical research center, and a nationally recognized faculty and graduate student recruitment and retention program at Hunter College of the City University of New York. He was also involved in developing the largest national online network of minorities in science called justgarciahill.org. He is currently on the steering committee of the Group on Diversity and Inclusion of the Association of American Medical College. Let's give a big digital round of applause for Mr. Gameda. All right, take it away, sir.
Thank you, thank you. This was really very generous, but generous introduction. But I want to say, the favorite thing when I get back to mentoring in medicine, it's really coming back home for me in many ways. Because I have known it for a long time and I've known the work that is done, to embrace and engage students everywhere now, but particularly it all started in New York. And it's great to see some students as well who are going to, like Catherine, who is at Hunter, and I used to be at Hunter a long time ago, and as you mentioned in the biography. So it's wonderful to see everyone and to kind of feel your presence in this virtual network. This is my favorite part of the work, to engage students and young people and see them move, across the pathway. And there is no, end to it, as you said earlier. Mentoring in medicine kind of goes from pre-K to wherever it takes anyone. And that mentoring family, I call it a family. You're just actually building a community and a family as you are engaging with everyone. And one thing that I would advise you is that that's how you should take it as well. As you are, like engaging and meeting everyone throughout the process, just be sure to connect and to reconnect and to stay there and to you just, connect. I just got an email today from a student who graduated, 3 years ago from the medical program, and he's in the residency program in the Bronx at Montefiore, and he's now connecting with me saying, oh, I want to chat with you about the next steps, the next journey. And so the journey never ends, and so that is the way you should look at it. So I will have a broad kind of picture, give you a broad picture of pathways into health professions, talk a little bit about EVMS as Andrew mentioned, and then really entertain more questions and conversation. That's what I would like to do more. So the idea is to explore pathways, to examine ways to own your own journey and your own story, and explore ways to find strength and persistence in what you're doing. And that is the most important thing. And so the most important thing, the first thing we need to know is, how do you know that whatever you're looking for is yours, right? And that is, really something we should be exploring all the time, whatever we're doing, you know. And so you should be thinking, is this really for me? Is this the profession that I want to pursue? Whatever it is in health professions, why do I think so? Am I reflecting on it enough? Am I engaging everybody enough to reflect with me? You know, like, and when I say that, it's, you know, like your friends and your family and your teachers and your colleagues, and, you know, it's everybody. And then, you know, and also it's fine to have doubts, because, you know, like, doubts are actually always what kind of confirm your strength when you overcome them, and when you kind of find out that, you know, that you really, really want something. Um, so, and then the other most important thing, and that is not emphasized enough, I think, in everything that we do, that it's always a story. You know, it's always about a narrative, and it's about who you are, you know, in this world where we are kind of thrown, right? And we kind of find ourselves like a speck of sand, and we find ourselves somewhere on a beach, on a mountain, wherever it is where we are, right? And we find something that defines us, and everything, you know, we are defined. There's a story that we carry. So it's very, very important to actually focus on your story in many ways, about who you are, where you come from, how does that relate to the thing that you want to do. And so those are very important things to think every day and in every way, you know, like where you want to kind of go. You know, what is your journey? What is the journey that you take, to reflect every day what you're doing. And also how you reflect on and how you express your humanity, right? You know, like, who are you in relation? That's what that means, right? Who are you in relation to your family, to your friends, to your community, and how does that, what you choose to as a profession, express you, and how do you express it in the things that you do. And then, you know, like, as you are actually developing and building that story to tell to someone, right? You know, that's what you need to do. You need to tell to someone who is, while you're still on the journey, right? You need to tell it to your teacher. You need to tell it to your advisor, who's going to write a letter of recommendations for you. You know, you need to tell it to everyone, right? As you do that, you share that unique experience that you have, that you build through that relationship. And then, you know, very important, in order to tell a story, you have to build the way of expression, right? You know, how you write, how you talk, how you express yourself in order to tell who you are, right? Um, and then the other thing that I want to tell you, you know, and emphasize it very strongly, is that we need you. You know, like, I mean, there is no other choice, truly, because, you know, like, just look at it, like, look at the environment we're in. Look at the, you know, when you look at the disparities and inequities that exist. Um, with the COVID-19, you know, like, even you look at it with that, which has magnified the underlying disparities that exist. You know, you have, you know, among Blacks and African Americans, twice as many people were dying from COVID-19 in the New York City area. So when you compare it to whites, so when you look at those issues, there is really a need to engage, and I don't mean only, you know, specifically based on your race or ethnicity, but based on the commitment you bring for equity and social justice, and for improving health, and for doing, you know, great work that is going to improve everybody's health, and um, that's going to bring, you know, like, the equity of health to everyone. We need you. We need, you know, like, the young people that we see today, who have, you know, like, the incredible energy and ideas, and a social justice mindset, um, to catch on and to move on in that direction to work. And then, you know, like, to do all that, obviously, right? You know, you need to prepare, as Mr. Morrison always wants to say. And so, you have to prepare, and we have to prepare to catch on and do the work. And if you're in college, obviously these are the things that we want to think about. You have to take the science courses, you have to take the advanced science courses, but also you have to be able to take the liberal arts and humanities. Remember we said, like you have to be able to express yourself. You have to be able to contextualize, the history and the social context in which you and we all exist. Um, you have to have some clinical experience, so you get, your experiences around by shadowing and by doing other things. Um, I just, was on a call with one of my first year students who just finished first year of medical school. And now he's this summer, it was really an off summer for many of them who usually um, do research over the summer between first year and second year. But because of the pandemic, many students did not have any opportunity. Every opportunity was closed. He's from Boston, and so he had gone back to Boston, and he was thinking that to go back to do research with some of the researchers that he had worked with before. But obviously he couldn't do it, so that there was no chance to do it. So he was just home, and he was really getting anxious about not doing anything. And then he went actually to the emergency medicine department where he had worked at before as an EMT technician. That's what he did before going to medical school. And he got the job. So like he's very happy now. He's going to be working, he's going to be in medicine, and he's already in medical school. And so this is like an exceptional opportunity for him. So I was advising him how to take advantage of that opportunity, which is not usually taken as a medical student, right? You don't go back to do, as an emergency technician, as a medical student. However, in this situation where you have, like a COVID-19 in large part as a huge issue in emergency environments, it is an opportunity to observe, to do research, to think about what that means going back as a medical student. So it's very important for you to see what are the opportunities you can get in terms of clinical experience as you're moving in that direction. Community service, very, very important. And community service, what I always say is that you don't have to take the traditional route of just identifying things that are just out there. You actually create them. And when you create them, then you actually bring to that to your resume or CV the element of leadership as well. So if the way I look at it, I can go and find out a community service opportunity, for example, to go to a soup kitchen and say, okay, I want to volunteer there. That's very good. That's nice. But I can also be walking around in the neighborhood and notice that, for example, in that neighborhood, there are many elderly people in the buildings that are stuck, and they're not able to move. And then I create this opportunity where, for example, with a number of students, we create a service where we do something for that elderly group. Now that becomes leadership. So you need to look at it in that way. There's advising. You have to actually cultivate advising from very early, so that you have your regular advising, which is like you have your committees or your advisors that are set for you. However, you also have like advisors in many levels with your professors, which you can like look for advising, engage them, and as you engage them early, you have an opportunity for someone to talk about you and get a letter of recommendation when you need it. Research is obviously an important aspect. I heard what Catherine is doing right now. That like you actually are developing your own ideas for research. That is fantastic. The traditional way of looking for research was you can look at it in your institutions. You can approach a faculty member that has research. or you have the summer opportunities to apply for other institutions or the NIH or other places. But the most important thing, in your consideration is that academics and being able, like to maintain your grades as best as possible is a very, very important aspect of, your growth and the selection process when in your next step. So do not extend yourself too much to impact your academic performance. However, one thing that I want to say, through this all in terms of, like your academic selections and choices is that you can get to medicine from whatever major you come from. So that is, like the assumptions that were not, that are really, like mixed up in many ways. You don't have to be a bio major. You don't have to be a pre-med major. You need to do what you really want to do in undergrad. So if it's English, if it's dance, if it's film, if it's sociology, if it's anthropology, that's what you should be doing. You can actually do your prerequisites, in addition to that. So, so there is, because that way you will always do well in the major that you like, so if you force yourself, you actually get to suffer more. And then, like you'll have to make up your grades, later on in some other way. But if you select something that you love, you'll perform well, your grades will be up, and then you will manage to actually adjust yourself to get the prerequisites for your pathway into health professions. So that is a very important aspect. So this is, some reality check. When you are, like looking in your, as you're getting into your second, third year of your program, you see, where am I? How are my grades? How is my academic record? Because there are, like if you can look at it and gauge it at the right time, there are many different ways to get there. It might be like quicker and faster. It might take a little time, but you can always find your way, and you can make decisions based on, what you actually assess. So between your second and third year, it's very good to ask yourself, oh, do I have, like the records to apply directly, or should I, like think of, pathways? And that way, so you can kind of plan it in a longer way. And so if the answer is no, you re-examine and you see, like, how do I adjust and how do I move forward to find various pathways to where I'm going. So this is, like a story that I like, to tell a lot, about reaching a goal, but, reaching a goal in many different ways, and also to know what your assets are. And this was, like a story that I heard a long time ago while I was still in New York. I was actually at Hunter while, I kind of got this story. It's about Hugh Hare is the guy's name. I don't know if you know him. And he runs the MIT Media Lab. He's the PI of that lab. And he actually does limbs. And he really does, like artificial limbs, and he's the expert in that. And how he got to that is that when he was just a teenager in high school, he's from New England, and he was climbing a mountain in New England. He really loved to climb mountains. He was an avid climber as a teenager, as a high school student. He went with his friends to climb a mountain. And while they were climbing, the weather turned really, really bad, unexpectedly. The snow started falling, and it was a huge storm, and they were caught up there. And they were, just circling, and they lost their way, and they got stuck, and they got practically buried. And actually, he was rescued from there, and a friend or a couple of friends of his died, but he lost his two legs as a result of that. So he was, back home, in New England, and he wasn't going to school. He was recovering, and he was sitting there and desperate, what to do. And he started, working in the workshop. That was what he started working on in the workshop on, making limbs to go out, climbing again. And so, like he was just working on that, and he went out and did that at one point. But in the meantime, he went, he couldn't go directly to college. He went to a community college, and then he went to a university, and ended up being the most, important researcher in artificial limbs. And now he says, actually, he is more enabled than being, than what he had, because he can climb on a sliver of rock, and he can, adjust, his legs in many different ways. And so that is what we actually think about as we think, what are our tools, right? And so, resilience and thinking, of doing things is related to how we adjust and how we move, how we always have, our tools to go forward. So the alternate ways, and this is, like the adjustments sometimes that we need to take, are, the post-bac and master's programs, which are taken, as I said, if you went to do a program that is not pre-med or bio, but rather you took a major that you like, which is different, and then you want to kind of transition into that track. That is called a transitioning program, where you come into the program, you're just taking the prerequisite to get there. The other reason is that you might have had some issues with your GPAs, with your academic record, as I mentioned earlier. And then you see that, oh, okay, I need to adjust that. And then you get into the program to adjust your GPA. And sometimes your GPA is fine, but your MCAT is, your MCAT did not work. In that case, you get into a program to take the time to do that, and then also get, your MCAT improved. The other very important aspect that I have seen to be really engaging is that to embed in a medical school, because some of these programs have a medical school environment which embed you inside and truly get you into the medical school mode. So, it's not only the courses you take and the MCAT improvements that you get, but also the programming that you are integrated in as a practically a medical student, and the community engagement and the shadowing experiences that you get from it. So those are very important aspects to look at. So what should you be looking at when you're looking at, you should be also, obviously, testing and selecting what kind of programs you want to get. So if it's an MD program that you're looking into, obviously you want to see, like, okay, what kind of curriculum do they have? Does that really fit me? If it's, do they have like a traditional curriculum, which is, like, you have anatomy and physiology and all, like the other courses, or are they, problem-based, and they lecture-based or problem-based courses? Are they interactive? Are they, small group courses more than, like lecture type courses? Is the program or is the institution more research focused or primary care focused school? Because in many cases, if it's a research focused school, you probably need to prepare with a lot of research background as well. They would require that from you. If what you're looking for is really a school with primary care, community-oriented, clinically, oriented program, then you would choose differently. And that way you'll have a fit. You get into the school, you feel good. You'll have, because it's 4 years, when you get into medical school, it's 4 tough years, right? Like it's very engaging, difficult. You really have to focus and you have to do the work. And you don't want to have an added burden that you're not enjoying it. right? You know, like you have to have a certain amount of enjoyment there in order to be able to do it. You have to enjoy it. You have to be happy. You know, like, and happiness comes from fitting your expectations and what you have available for you. Obviously, if you're looking for MD, PhD type of programs, which are, you know, research oriented, you need to look, you know, what kind of faculty, research faculty do they have? What kind of labs do they have? Are the labs, you know, do the labs fit the kind of interests in generally, you know, general research interests you might have, whether it's, you know, like in the neuro area or in the immunology or whatever it is. What are, you know, like the bigger, you know, buckets of things that you can get? The flexibility of the program, you know, if you want to change directions so that there are, you know, like more options to move into. And then obviously in this case as well, you know, the structure and organization of the program is important as well. Does it fit your needs? And so these are, and obviously the support, does it have, you know, like enough support to carry you for research, for funding, mentoring? All of those things are some things that you can actually, wherever you're going in any of these programs, you can ask and you can say, does this have this? Where can I find it? Where can I see that? And then the other issues are also, you know, like, again, are you in need of combined programs? For example, you know, some schools have, you know, MD and PH programs if you're interested in having, you know, public health as well. MDMA, MDJD, you know, like some programs have those combinations as well. Research opportunities, even if you are in an MD program, are there, you know, research opportunities? Not only that there are research opportunities, are there mentoring, you know, opportunities that give you that opening? And, you know, one thing, for example, that I'm really focused in is in getting students to consider a pathway into academic medicine. Academic medicine meaning, you know, like, I want them to go to be faculty. You know, we want students, you know, that are coming through the pipeline, not only to finish medicine and go to practice, which is a great thing, and we need that, but we want them also to consider staying in medical schools and academic medicine to be faculty, so that they do, so they teach, they do clinical work, and they do research, and most importantly, they teach and mentor the next generation of students who are going to be diverse. You know, so that is very important goal to me. And one pathway, and an important pathway to academic medicine is research. You know, so to get into some kind of scholarly work, and when we say research, we kind of confuse it with lab research, you know, and it's not necessarily a lab research. The research has expanded now. We have, you know, a lot of clinical type of research. We have community-based research that we're doing. We have medical education research, which is a huge area now itself. And so there's a lot of different pathways to there. And so I always try to engage students to get into those opportunities in order to chart their pathways, you know, so that if they are truly interested at the end of the game, then they are there. They have the option to stay and be faculty, and that way I have, you know, for example, I have one student who is accepted into the one-year program. We just got accepted into the one-year program at NIH this year. She's going to go there in August. That's a fully paid one-year research program. And we do, you know, like, really engage students to do some kind of research during the summer between their first and second years, always. It can be educational, it can be clinical, it can be community-based, but you're doing scholarly work. And scholarly work makes you think, makes you reflect, and it really, you know, makes you grow in many ways, beyond just, you know, like, learning procedures and picking knowledge. You're actively actually creating knowledge. So that is an important aspect. international opportunities for those students who are, interested in global work. Many schools have those kind of programs. And then, it's important to see educational and clinical opportunities outside of the normal. What kind of, how does the curriculum embed, for example, community engaged learning activities? One of the things that we have really integrated community engaged learning as part of the curriculum. It's like, it's embedded within the curriculum, and every student who gets into the medical program has to actually choose not only the medical program, the health professions programs as well, all of them. They select a community engaged learning initiative to be part of throughout their presence in that education. So one is, for example, I run the health and justice program, which is like related to working with re-entry and incarcerated communities to look at on different aspects of social determinants and clinical care as well. And so that is a pathway, longitudinal pathway students take. We have street health. We have the Hopes Clinic. The Hopes Clinic is a free clinic that is run by students, and it's run by students throughout the program, from the who are in the MD program and in the health professions program. And they do everything from the lab work that is involved in the clinical practice, as well as continuity of care, as well as research that is integrated into looking at the clinical services provided and the health disparities contents that we have. So everything is done by a cohort of students that come from the medical master's program, from the MPH program, from the basic research program, from the MD program. So it's really a fantastic way of engaging students in non-traditional community engaged learning opportunities. Of course, cost, right? We always think about, can you afford it? Average medical school debt is $200,000. That's, like the national average. And it's a lot, and it tends to be a lot. And however, there are, like ways to get loans and scholarships, and to get full scholarships if you're interested, for example, in pursuing the National Health Service Corps, for example, which is a scholarship that gives like full tuition, but you are you're then obligated at the end of your studies to spend 3 years in an underserved area, which is really no big deal, because most students want to do that anyway. And so you're going to spend, at least 3 years, and most actually are committed to staying in underserved areas and work. When you look at, when I was at NYU, Bellevue, NYU was one of those areas where you can work, and your loan will be repaid for that. So you have the armed forces, in my institution, actually at EVMS, we are very at the center of like a military area, and we have a lot of military students as well, who get into get military scholarships and do service, as part of their obligation. Geographic location is an important aspect to explore. You want to be in an area where you feel comfortable and where you want to be, whether it's like a cold or hot or warm, or it's by the water, or it's in the mountains, or it's in an urban area or in a rural area. It's always good to look at where you will feel comfortable and enjoy. The learning environment, who the students are, who the teachers are, what the community looks like, what the patient population looks like, all of those things are important. The size of class, depending on your interests. The support system is very important to look at. Who is, like looking after you, and what is the mentoring environment that you have? The diversity is very, related to that, and the inclusive environment. And then, residency placements are an important aspect of the conversation as well, which are very integrated into the mentoring aspect. So these are some of, and then for the MD PhD program, you want to know the graduation rates, how long people take to graduate. Schools, what do they what are they looking for in you? Obviously, the academic metrics is something that everybody looks at. That's the baseline. And as they look at that, they look at, like how your course load was, what your GPA and MCAT was, how your letters of recommendations were. But in many cases, they're also looking at that from a holistic, perspective. So, we tend to look at that, if your course load in relation to what you were doing, while you were also, like taking such a large course load. Were you, working? Did you have to support yourself? All of those things come into question. Motivation is a big thing, and motivation is something that actually you build into your story. As I mentioned to you earlier, that is very important to actually express it. Expression is an important aspect, like how do you express yourself, and so, and being socially conscious, because, in the end, I can tell you that medicine and health professions in general, if it wasn't like that before, it has become more and more and more focused on social consciousness, and therefore, coming into it with a well-developed social consciousness and, like a context of social justice that describes you and your pathway is a very, very important aspect of your, should be of your application. And of course, if you're looking for MD, PhD, you'll have to have 2 years of, research under your belt, possibly some publication. So those are, some of the things that you have to consider. A little about EBMS, I'm not really going to sell it too much, but, I can, I'll talk to you about it offline. But one of the central aspects of the school that actually drove me to join it, to move from New York and join it, is that it's a community engagement is a central aspect of the school. It was actually developed by the community. So it's one of the, I think the only school that I know of, which the community, actually collected the funds to put up the school. And so community orientation is, it's central vision. We have a large underserved community based both urban and rural, affected by health disparities. The research that is done, it's not a huge research institution. It's not a research one institution, but the research that takes place is very, very focused on the areas of disparities that affects the community around us. And there is, like a holistic training of health professionals. It's not only a school of medicine, but a school of health professions. And there's really an integrated environment for learning. As I mentioned to you, like the Hopes Clinic, we really bring together the students from the different programs to work together for the same goal, in terms of, like looking at, for example, underserved patients and servicing patients and things like that. We have, various programs, as you can see, from the MD to the PhD in biomedical sciences, clinical psychology, a huge number of master's programs. This is just a few, including something like, contemporary human anatomy. That's kind of some new programs that we have actually put up, including including arts therapy. This is an example. For example, the contemporary human anatomy. It is, a program that brings together traditional and classic anatomy with emerging technologies, including, imaging, 3D printing, And it has a wonderful opportunity as a pathway towards, like graduate health professions, including in the MD program, the DO program, or you can, or into great professions like, into medical education, illustration, and, medical examiner's office. It's really a pathway that has both that can extend into a program, or that can extend into a profession on its own. So these are, some of the things that we're building. So these are some of the things that I was talking about a little bit. We have, the master's programs and the PhD programs, which are focused on the biological sciences and physical sciences. We have the MD or PhD program that you can explore, which are disease-oriented research or integrated biological sciences, and then the MD and health professions, which are more patient-oriented research or practice that you can actually work on, whether you are in the MD program or the physician assistant program or the arts therapy program, or the other programs that I mentioned to you earlier. So these are some some resources which I'm sure you're aware of: the American Association of Medical Colleges, for the many opportunities that you can find. This is our website, evms.edu, and this is my my email address. So I will finish it here, and then we can have a very rich Q&A that I'm hoping for.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Mr. Gameda, for that wonderful and insightful presentation. Questions. I would like people to realize that this really is a pathway. In the chat room, many people are asking about what's a good GPA, and I have to tell you, having been at this for well over almost 15 years now, and mentoring in medicine, we've helped 500 low-income students and underrepresented minorities actually get into medical school. There are students who are a 2.8 in college, and I want you to realize that your GPA only represents how you spend your time. And I want to have Mr. Gameda talk about, because I'm sure he has examples of students who woke up, who recognize, you have to admit, a level of immaturity, or you had some challenges during your college years, and these same students could go to his master's program and become top of their class when it comes to medical school, and even score in the top 10% of some of the national exams in medical school as well. So Mr. Gameda, talk about that student, that 2.8, 2.9 student.
I can tell you a story right now, actually, that just a very fresh one is, I had a student who went to a Virginia college here, and he really didn't do well in his college. He had under a 3-point GPA, and then, but he really wanted to do medicine. But that was college years. It really that was how it was. So he came to the medical master's program. He joined the medical master's program. In the medical master's program is totally integrated with the medical school. So they take the classes together with the MD students. So the same classes, practically, the anatomy, physiology, you're taking the same courses. He took those courses, he really buckled up, and he was one of the best students in that program. He did so well that when we accepted him into the MD program, many of the courses were waived for him in the first year. So he was actually tutoring medical students in anatomy, and getting paid for it. So then he finished medical school, and I was, really, really close with him and mentored him and really channeled him into a residency program. He wanted to do emergency medicine. He ended up at George Washington University in DC for emergency medicine. and he is the best resident at George Washington. He's chief resident now. So that's, those are the stories that, you can do it. The thing is that, you just have to, and for me, to tell you the truth, most of the students that I have seen um, in in medical school, most of the most interesting students that I have seen in medical school, whether they have come through a medical master's pathway or through other pathway, have always gone a longer pathway and have matured to get there where they really are settled, and they really know what they want to do. And at that time, it's also easy for them, actually easier, so that is I've really, really noticed that. The medical master students that we have entering in our medical programs are the best students in the programs. They perform better than any of the medical students that we have, because they have done the material before. They have settled in very well in the program already, life-wise, because they're already integrated in shadowing, in doing community work, in working at Hope's Clinic. So that helps a lot.
All right, that's great. Chuka has a question here. What's the criteria to gain acceptance to the MD program from the medical masters? So to go from medical masters to MD program, what is the criteria for acceptance?
It's good performance in the medical master's program. That's really it, because at that point, that is, what determines it, like really to perform well in the program, to engage well, in the program. By that time, all the faculty, like who are teaching the MD program are teaching the medical master's program. So integrating and doing well. Seeking, like whenever you need, like kind of support and ways to improve. Seeking also, help when you need it. That's where, and we try to reach out and really engage everybody. But to make everybody feel that they are mentored and in.
Okay, we have a question. What's the success rate for people getting accepted into a medical school from your master's program? And also, how many people apply actually in total? And I guess that question is in reference to apply to your medical master's program. So it's kind of a two-part
Oh,
question.
into our program. So I don't know exactly into our medical master's program how many people apply versus are admitted. I don't have the numbers, but however, in terms of like the students that from the medical master's program that end up entering into medical school is anywhere from 85 to 95%.
Wow.
It's just incredible.
That's great.
It's very successful. It's very, very successful.
That's great. Okay, so we're wrapping up. We'll address a couple of final questions. For an MD PhD program, is it better to have a range of research experiences in different labs without a publication, or should someone focus on research in one lab with the potential for having a publication? So is it better to jump from lab to lab and never get published, or should somebody focus on one lab and have a higher chance of getting published?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
There is no expectation for, for students who are entering the MD PhD program to come with a lot of knowledge of very different areas. So what is important is, like how much research that they have done truly. And if that kind of translates into a publication, that is the ultimate, So that's, that's what I advise. It doesn't matter, like in the end, but, if something is leading to a publication, that is the best route.
Okay, great. Another question. Can a biomedical engineering degree if you get a degree in biomedical engineering, can you apply to medical school?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good.
You know, you can apply to a medical school with any degree.
Right. You know, I often tell people you don't have to major in biology to
No,
apply to medical school, take the MCAT, just take the required courses.
that's it.
People think I'm crazy. I'm like, no, you can major in dance, you can
Yeah.
major in acting, and just take the required courses.
Yeah, not only that you can, but sometimes you will be more competitive because like we want like diverse perspectives to
Right,
come into medicine.
right. Okay, what's the best way someone could reach you or another mentor to guide us through this journey? I trust everyone is on the email list for mentoring in medicine, so we'll keep bringing you individuals like Mr. Gameda, and so you'll definitely have more chances to
Yeah,
mentor. How do you transfer from?
you have my email there if you want to reach me directly as well.
Okay, how do you transfer from CUNY to a private school like NYU? How would you answer that question?
How do you transfer?
Yeah, how do you transfer from a CUNY to a private school like NYU?
In the undergrad
Uh,
program?
yeah, I'm assuming the person's an undergrad.
Yeah. Um, I don't know, really.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would say just apply, speak to the folks in the admissions office. I mean, everyone needs to get in the habit of being their own advocate, and there's somebody there
Yeah.
that has the answer, and
Yeah.
just, send them an email. And there's definitely a process.
Yeah.
If you want to be a pediatrician, do you have to go to medical school?
Yes.
Okay, good. Do non-U.S. citizens get loans or scholarships for medical schools?
Well, that is no, because like kind of the loans and are tied to federal kind of grants and stuff. However, some schools that actually admit that take international students would have some funding available, I think, for international students.
Okay, great. So let me wrap up. I won't be able to get to everyone's question, but just make sure you join the Mentoring in Medicine email list. If you're here, you're part of our list. We'll be sending you out a lot more information. Give us probably 2 days for us to edit the video, and we'll email that out to you as well. And Mr. Gameda, what are your closing thoughts, closing words that you would like to share with our audience?
I'm the only, one thing I really want to share again, emphasize is we need you. So, like you have to kind of stick to it, and find support and mentoring. There are many people like me around, many friends who have been in this struggle for many years, and they're all just waiting to get more students into the pathway. So reach out, like really ask if you want to, contact me. I'll connect you with others. Um, and I really stick with it. And not only that we need you, like the community needs you. We all, we really truly need you to succeed. And so stick with it and do well and enjoy it. And I have total confidence that you will do it.
All right,
I have
great.
seen many of you, like, so, I know.
There you go. Great, great. So outstanding. I want to thank everyone for being here. And this is only the beginning. We may not have been able to get to all of your questions, but I want you to realize that we're here to support you in your journey, and there are a number of more programs that will be coming up. So thanks for coming out. Let's give a big thank you for Mr. Gameda
Thank you. Thank you for being there.
for making such an invaluable investment of his time. And we'll close out with his favorite song. All right. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming.
Are you singing?
Can you hear it? I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming. Long time coming, and I know a change gonna come. Mhm. Oh, yes, it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the skies. It's been a long. There you go. The timer is encouraging me. You better sing, but I know a change gonna come. A change is coming for you. A change is coming. Things are gonna get better. All right?
That's right.
There you go. I go to the movie. Sing it, Mr. Gameda, sing it.
I have no voice.
You got no voice. It don't matter. Make a joyful noise, Mr. Gameda. Somebody tell me, don't hang around. It's been a long time coming. There you go. I know change gonna come. A change is coming, and you're the change. All right. I want everyone to know that you're the change.
That's right.
All right. So thanks so much, everyone, for coming out. And we're going to make people are crying here. I got skills. I have other gifts as well. So stay tuned. We're going to send you out the video and more programs to come. So a change is going to come. And thank you so much, Mr. Gameda.
Thank you
for making the most invaluable investment to this program, to Mentoring Medicine, your time. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much. Bye. Take care, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Take care.